These have to do with policies and laws that the BJP has brought about after 2014, but particularly after 2019. The first element is in terms of party policy. The BJP has 390 members of parliament, none of whom is a Muslim, whether this is in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha. Of the 1,000 or so local legislators that the BJP has in India's 28 states, none is a Muslim. This is deliberate exclusion, a political apartheid of a sort, and it goes back to something that we saw before 1947, where of the Congress's 1,000 or so members, only 3% were Muslim. This is even fewer than that. The second aspect is through law, targeted law that goes after minorities, particularly Muslims. So in 2015, BJP states began to criminalize the possession of beef. After this, a series of lynchings began. The laws were triggered by speeches made by the Prime Minister, who railed against what he called the pink revolution, which refers to the export of beef. These laws reverse burden of proof. A Muslim man in the state of Gujarat was sentenced to 10 years in jail in 2019 after he was accused of serving beef at his daughter's wedding. And the police was not able to prove that this was the case. The court gave him the sentence, saying that it was for him to demonstrate that the meat that had been consumed all those weeks and months ago was not beef. That sentence was later reversed by the High Court, but the judge followed the law. Similarly, India after 2018 in 7 BJP states has criminalized interfaith marriage between Hindus and Muslims. Those couples that wish to marry and one of them has to change their faith have to apply to the government. And it's for the government, it's for a local bureaucrat to decide whether or not the marriage can go through. The law in some states gives the government the authority to undo marriages, including those that have children. In 2019, the BJP criminalized Muslim divorce, the only part of the population for whom this is. For the rest, it's a civil offense. For Muslims, it is a criminal. There was no need to do this after the Supreme Court held that the practice of a triple talaq in one sitting was not valid, but it was done purely to persecute and to harass, as is the case with a lot of the other laws that the BJP has legislated. In 2019, the BJP legislated a law that excluded Muslims from being from the set of people who had come to India from 3 neighboring nations before the end of 2014 and who could seek asylum through a law. The Home Minister said that this law was to be read in conjunction with another law, the National Register of Citizens, which would act as a pincer to come after Muslims. In Kashmir, it is the only part of the subcontinent not to be under democratic rule at the moment. It's governed directly from Delhi. It has laws that give the state the authority to kill with impunity. It has had these laws for several decades now, that is a fact. But the reason given for taking away its autonomy was to better integrate it with the rest of the country. That has not clearly happened. Weapons used for crowd control in Kashmir are not used anywhere else in India, to my knowledge, not anywhere else in the world. The 12-gauge shotgun firing birdshot, which has blinded hundreds of people. It has killed some people. It has wounded even those who man the weapon themselves, being not the kind of thing that ought to be used on people. The last thing is that the government appears to be deferring to the mob, showing it deference, letting it say what it wants to, which is the most rabid of language against minorities, particularly Muslims. And hate speech laws are used to target those who dissent, those who tell the government, this is not the route that India should be taking, this is not the road that we ought to be on. And these are things that concern us, and I think it is for our friends all over the world to make sure that the government of India knows that what it is doing, what it has gone about doing in the last few years is wrong. It is destructive in many ways. and it ought to stop.